we are going to be talking about how we feel about everybody's draft picks.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get it. And this was one of like the deepest classes in a while, I feel like. So a lot of teams did super well on my end, but we'll go through each
Mhm.
team, each player, see who we like, who we didn't like, and we'll get into it.
I'm not going to lie, I'm on ESPN and I looked at like teams and the rounds and everything just to refresh my mind. And I can't lie to you, Zach. ESPN, they keep records of all the previous years of draft picks. And dude, when I went back to 2024, it's so bad, bro. It's
Yeah.
so bad. Oh my gosh, they were not wrong, dude. It's horrible. You know, they compared it to the 2013 draft. I think it's what when Anthony Bennett went first pick. Yeah, that was 2013.
Yeah.
Um Dude, it might be even worse than that. At least at this point. It is awful, dude. Like it's bad. So bad.
Well, that draft was like pretty much all projection players and guys who are overseas that you're just hoping develops into something special. Obviously, you had like Stephon Castle go pretty early. Zach Edey was up there, but even at the time, I did not think Zach Edey was a lottery pick. And when Zach Edey is on the court, he's a good player. If he could just stay healthy, that pick will be worth it. But I remember at that time thinking if Zach Edey is a lottery pick, this draft is probably not going to be great.
Well, because you
And
kind of see him as more of a role player, honestly, at the end of the day.
yeah, and so he's a good, solid player today. Was he worth the seventh overall pick in most drafts? I don't know. That's probably a little bit early in a lot of
It's up for
drafts, but
debate.
he's decent. He's decent. So,
Draft
but this draft
wise,
class looks a lot better than the 2024. So it
way
should be fun
better.
getting into these
Even
grades.
even last year looks way better, but this one we might have something on our hands here. Um, Zach, do you just want to go down the line here? Do we just want to start from first pick all the way down to number 30? We're just going to be talking about the first round.
I think so. Let's
Okay.
do it that way.
You know what, Zach? I think in honor of our mock draft, I think we should individually grade each pick here. So
Okay.
I think you should get the odds and I should get the evens, just like how we did with the mock. Um, and when we talk about each other's grades, I think we should we can also include our own opinion as well if we agree or
Yeah,
disagree. So
for
but
sure.
I'll let you start it off, dude. All yours.
Yeah, so nothing crazy with the first overall pick. I'm going to give this an A. I think, in my opinion, AJ DeBonsa is the best player in the draft. I think he fits the Wizards well. I know there's some interesting situations with Anthony Davis and Alex Sarr, but I think for the time being, you could put DeBonsa in the three spot. You have George at the shooting guard. Obviously, we'll talk about Trey Young later, but they're forming a nice team, I feel like, in Washington, and so they didn't shock us with anything crazy. DeBonsa goes number one. I think he has a very high ceiling and should be a good player for a very long time.
Yeah, I agree, man. I think it's an A as well.
The Jazz.
Number 2 pick, the Jazz went ahead and still took Darren Peterson. I'm going to give it an A as well. I truly believe Darren Peterson could be the best player in this draft. Um, it's between him and AJ. Either way, A for both teams, 100%, regardless who I think is going to be better. It's all projections at the end of the day. But these two guys, when it comes down to it, what makes this draft so special is that literally, if Darren Peterson or AJ were in two separate drafts, they each would be the first pick in their own drafts. Like
Totally.
they're for sure potentially generational talents. we'll see how all that plays out in their respected teams that drafted them. But I definitely do think it's an A here. Also saw a report during the draft that him and the Jazz did have a meeting. I think it was a week before the draft, so that's good to see. Didn't do that with Ace Bailey. I guess Ace Bailey doesn't matter as much compared to Darren Peterson for the Jazz, but shout out to my Jazz fans as well. Love you guys.
Oh yeah, they love you.
Oh, I know.
So hopefully
I
you'll
get
get
a
on their good
comment
side with that
every
grade.
day. I still get
Hey,
comments
Jazz
every
fans, he gave
day.
you an A. What are you gonna say now?
Well, I
All
mean,
right,
I
so
had to. He's my favorite player in the draft.
hey, there you
Got
go.
to.
There you go.
I just think I just don't think he's gonna be there that long. That's all I have to say. If he's there,
Mm.
if he's there longer than 10 years, um, I'll say sorry. My bad.
Well, we'll clip that and we'll see what happens in 10 years. so so the next pick, you got the Grizzlies. You know, still no surprises here. They take Cameron Boozer. We're gonna be like Oprah here. You get an A, you get an A, you get an A. I'm going with an A for this pick. I think that Cameron Boozer has the highest floor of probably anyone in this draft. He's already a very polished player. He just does a lot of things good. And I think he's a type of player that the Grizzlies want to build their team around. And I'm really liking what the Grizzlies are doing. I think they're starting something very special in Memphis. Like some of the other draft picks that we'll talk about later, also a trade we may talk about later. They are putting in the groundwork to build up the grit and grind Grizzlies again, and I think that this is a great cornerstone to do that. So they get an A as well.
Yeah, I agree, man. I mean, just gotta say quickly, like A for sure. When Cameron Boozer got picked, man, I had to remind myself, I'm like, Cameron Boozer really could compete with AJ and Darren Peterson for being the best in the draft as well. Like these top three guys for sure. Like Boozer really could become insane because between him, AJ, and Darren Peterson, what I love so much is that all three of these players are totally different play styles. AJ is more of your shot creating um, wing that can also guard guys probably like 1 through 4, especially if he gets stronger. Darren Peterson, two-way guard, can also shot create. His catch and shoot ability is insane. And then Cameron Boozer can just do it all, dude. He has a post game. He can kind of body you in the paint depending on who you put him against. Um, he has the ability to drive really well, just like AJ. AJ can drive really well as well. I forgot to mention that. But dude, what I love about Boozer is his ability to play make. Compared to Darren Peterson and AJ, what makes Boozer so effective is I think he's a better playmaker than both of them currently. And for the Grizzlies to get a forward like him that really can do it all, he can grab boards, he can be your best playmaker on the floor, he can run your offense, um, and he can play defense as well. Dude, he just total package guy. Um, if anything, like I would say he's a special rebounder. If I had to pick anything that's really eye popping, but everything else, dude, he's just really good at, and that's just really nice to have in this type of modern NBA play.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the pick for them. And yeah, like I said earlier,
It's
great
totally
start
different going
to
from
this
him
new
than JJ.
Grizzlies. For sure.
Going from Jaren
For
Jackson to
sure.
him, it's like it's crazy, man. I think Grizzly fans are gonna enjoy him.
Definitely. All right, you
Next
got the
pick.
Bulls.
Yes, sir. Next pick, fourth pick for the Bulls, Caleb Wilson. Again, not another shocker. Probably going to go A here. Um, out of all the guys, I might keep talking about this man, but again, Caleb Wilson's another guy who really could compete for being the best player in this draft as well.
Yeah.
It's mainly because of his potential, though, alone. Um, his size and just his athleticism is crazy for what metrics he's at. Um, he's just super explosive, plays with a lot of energy. Um, I mean, it's just an outstanding pick, man. Especially for like the Bulls, they really needed someone with his stature. Um, and this is just a home run pick for them because they already have guys like Josh Giddey, who having someone like Caleb Wilson, who you can throw the ball and run the floor with. If I'm Josh Giddey, that really does excite me a lot. Um, but besides that, man, it's a home run pick for sure. And I mean, they still have Montez as well. And dude, they just got Nick Claxton, who we're going to talk about later. Bro, you're going to be able to throw the ball to Nick Claxton and Caleb Wilson. Like the Bulls are doing something, man. Like this, if you're a Bulls fan, this is really exciting to see what kind of roster they're building currently.
Yeah, definitely. For sure. And so for the next pick, I feel like this is where the draft kind of started. The top 4 picks, you could kind of debate who goes where, but it was pretty chalk for the most part. So the Clippers, they went Keaton Wagler out of Illinois, and I went with a B minus here. So I'm of the opinion that Darius Garland should not stop you from taking the best player available at this point. And in my opinion, that best player is Darius Acuff. And I think from the Clippers standpoint, they want someone who can play next to Darius Garland. And so maybe they see him as a long term solution at point guard, which I would disagree with. But I like Keaton Wagler just as a player. You know, he had a cool story too. Like he was outside the top 100 coming out of high school, 3-star guy, really just like popped out of nowhere, which is really rare to see in the or in college basketball these days. Someone with that big of a rise. So it's a really cool story. He's the type of guy I could see being a good role player for 12 years. You know, I don't think he has like star potential, but he's probably going to be a guy that you would want on your team for a long time. So that's why I didn't give it an A, but I also think it's a very solid pick. And so I'm going with a B minus.
Yeah, I'd agree. I go with a B here. I think it's just mainly like if Darius Garland, if you want to ride out with him, which he's still pretty young, it's really just betting on Keaton Wagler. Like, can he be as good of a scorer as he was looking at in college? I know he had flashes of really good scoring outputs and shot creating. Um, and I mean, the Clippers are pretty much betting on him possibly being that number one scorer on their team, which is fine. I'm not 100% sold that he can be your number one option or number one scoring option just yet, but I mean, that's just because watching in college, going into the NBA, it's hit or miss, man. You really never know. Some guys look really good in college scoring wise. Once they get to NBA and verse bigger bodies, they kind of get bullied around a lot. Keen, he's more scrawny, so he's definitely gonna have to build up some muscle to compete with the bigger guys. Um, but yeah, we shall see for sure.
Yeah, definitely. So you got the,
Yes,
I
sir.
almost said the New York Nets. Nets. I can't speak. The Brooklyn Nets.
Yes, sir. I'm gonna give the Brooklyn Nets a D right here. I'm gonna go
Oh
spicy. Yeah.
man, a D?
Yeah, dude.
That's wild.
So
Okay.
yep, I already think it's criminal. Well, so it's slightly criminal that the Clippers didn't go Darius Acuff. It's fine. Okay, whatever. They actually have a reason because they actually have a point guard. They have Darius Garland, which however you feel about Darius Garland, at the end of the day, he's a serviceable guy, okay, with all the injuries and his playoffs performance. Either way, he plays better at point guard than most point guards we see in the league now, okay, starting on people's teams. My thing is, if you're Brooklyn, why are we not taking Darius Acuff? Why do you what's your thought on that, Zach? Why would you not pick Darius Acuff?
Well, I would pick Darius Acuff,
Okay.
but the only thing I can think of is the Nets just absolutely fell in love with him at, you know, when he went to
Because of
there
his
to visit
workout.
his workout with them.
Yeah.
And so they must see something that no one else sees. But the thing with Darius Acuff is, like us being SEC fans, like we keep a big eye on the SEC and just absolutely see him lead Arkansas this year as a freshman and go through a gauntlet of teams and players who are in the NBA now or going to be in the NBA in the future. He is a top dog, and that is what the Nets are missing. I think you're really projecting when it comes to Mikal Brown. He was great too. Don't get me wrong, but if
Yeah.
we're just talking star potential, if you were to ask me, do I think in the next 5 years would Darius Acuff or Mikal Brown Jr. be an all-star? I would say Darius Acuff.
Yeah, and that'll lead us down later too, where I don't even think Mikal Brown is even better than Kingston Flemings. So,
Yeah,
but that's kind of why I put D because I see
interesting.
two guys that are better than Mikal Brown. I think Mikal Brown is fully more based off potential than the other two guys because I think the fact, he's 6'4", he's a well, actually 6'5", my bad. He's a bigger guard who can shot create. My thing is when I look at his play, his his certain shots that he takes, um, and some plays that he makes are kind of questionable when he was playing in Louisville. And sometimes it's hit or miss, man. Like in college, it's hard to kind of figure out these guys where it's like, he played on a Louisville team who wasn't I mean, you don't really know at the end of the day. I have no idea. At the end of the day, I don't know about the guys around him. Maybe he was just forcing certain shots. But there were times where I would see, like, him get double teamed and didn't need to take certain shots. I feel like there's just moments where he just does a little too much compared to Darius Acuff. I feel like Darius Acuff, every time he has the ball, I feel like knows what he's gonna do with the ball 9 out of 10 times. He knows what he's doing. Kingston Flemings also gives me that vibe, but I think this was more based off of pure potential than anything. So hopefully that training
Yeah,
staff
I
is
I
goated
think
in
that's
Brooklyn.
fair. And what's rough too is that's what they did last year is they drafted for potential as well, and they had 5 first-round picks. So
They've been
you're
doing that
kind of
for a
hoping they would
while.
go for a guy that's more consensus. This guy's going to be really good. I think majority of the people would probably take Acuff over Mikal Brown. From at least from what I'm hearing, maybe there's people out there who are on the other side of it, but it'll be interesting to see how he works out. I actually had a B minus for him. I'm a little higher on him than you are, but I gave it a B minus and not an A because I totally agree with you that I think they should have went Darius Acuff. And so basically, with that said, Kings they take Darius Acuff, falls right into their lap. It was even reported they could possibly trade up to 5 to take Darius Acuff, but they didn't even have to do that. They stay put, they get their guy, and so they're getting an easy A right here. And hopefully they keep him around longer than Darren Fox and Tyrese Halliburton, but he should hopefully be the next Kings point guard for at least 10 plus years, you would hope.
Yeah. It's A for me, man. I mean, nothing expected here. If you're the Kings, makes sense that you would want to trade up, but the fact that the two people in front of you didn't want him, I mean, that's great for the Kings that they didn't have to give up anything more for him. Um, and yeah, dude, to get Darius Acuff at 7, that's great for the Kings. If you're a Kings fan, that's great. Just don't trade him, please.
For sure. And if
Please
you're the
don't.
Kings as well, this is maybe a problem more for down the road, but as your roster currently stands, you're going to have a rough defense. So hopefully in the next couple of years they can find someone to put next to Acuff that could help take that defensive load a little bit. I mentioned like Jalen Suggs. I feel like would be a great fit right next to Darius Acuff if they could somehow pull off a trade for him. But really making sure if he ends up being what we think he could be, that you just build an absolute wall behind him as well because he can take on the scoring. He's got that clutch type gene, I feel like. And yeah, so, but that's a problem down the road. They got their guy right here, and I'm happy they did not mess this up either.
Yep, for sure, dude. I gotta stop before we do the eighth pick here, real quick. There's breaking news.
No, I haven't
Jalen
looked at my phone.
Brown.
This is new.
Jalen
No,
Brown. No, I'm kidding.
stop.
No, I'm kidding.
Oh my gosh, dude, you just
I
gave me a
got him. I
heart
got him,
attack.
chat. No, but
Holy cow.
there is actually there is a little bit of crazy news.
Oh
There's
no,
a little
tell
bit.
me. I'm scared, dude.
And I guess we'll talk about that. Why do we keep getting more stuff? Breaking news from Shams, reporting live from the draft show after the draft. The Charlotte Hornets are engaged in LaMelo Ball trade talks after multiple teams pursuing the guard.
What?
Boom.
LaMelo?
Yep. And it just got breaking news on Sleeper as well. Hornets are in active trade talks to trade away LaMelo. The biggest suitors are the Timberwolves and Raptors. Oh my goodness.
Okay.
Zach.
I'm very curious. Are you thinking a 3-team trade potentially?
I don't know, man, but Timberwolves and Raptors are in the talks. Says they are the biggest sweeters. So
Well, I was thinking
should we
if
talk about that now or later?
let's talk about that later.
Okay.
We should get through this. We're
Gotta
already
have
7
thoughts.
picks in.
Gotta think
Yeah,
about it.
let's
Yeah.
stop. Let's pause. We'll think about it when the
But
other
I just
person's
wanted
talking.
to
So,
I just wanted you to soak that in. So
oh man, okay,
yep.
that's good to know.
All right.
But right now we have to talk about Kingston Flemings.
Another point guard.
Mm-hmm.
Who to me I feel like is a home run pick as well. I'm gonna give it an A myself. Um let me pull my ESPN rounds back up because I was diving into some Shams. Yeah, man. Eighth pick for the Hawks here. This was a part of the Pelicans trade from the previous year where they got what's his face? Why am I blanking on his name? The forward from the Pelicans.
Derek Queen.
Yes, sir. Derek Queen. Um we'll see how this goes, man. Kingston Flemings though. Not gonna lie, I'm probably higher on him than Derek Queen, but we shall see. Dude, Kingston Flemings, I like this a lot. Fun fact, I think going from Kingston Flemings when you had Trey Young is very nice because he has really good athleticism. He can play make really well. Um, if I'm not wrong, if I'm not mistaken, I think he averaged almost the most assists in this draft compared to like Acuff, I believe. Like on the stat sheet, I
I'm not
think he's the
sure.
best playmaker. I think he averaged like 8 assists, but
Oh,
oh wait, no, he averaged 5. I'm wrong, guys. I'm so sorry. I forgot who. Someone averaged 8 assists. Maybe I'm tripping. I don't know, but maybe it was Acuff, who knows. But I really like the pick here, man. I think it's an A. It makes a lot of sense. You get another tall guard. Um and I'm not really surprised they went for another guard here.
for sure. Yeah, I also had an A for Kingston Flemings here. Perfect fit. I feel like it was either between him or a Daimara. I think they made the right choice giving a guy like that at 8. He's also a really good defender. So, yeah, good CJ McCollum potential successor. So I like that pick. And then with the 9th pick, this to me is where the first curveball was thrown. I was not expecting this. Okay, I take that back. I kind of did. Obviously, they have Dusty May as their new head coach. So
Yeah.
you had it in the back of your mind that they might take a Michigan player, one of the big three. But man, Braden Burries was right there. I feel he would have been the perfect Maverick next to Cooper Flag, next to Kyrie, would have fit seamlessly. Instead, they offer Morris Johnson Jr., which I ended up giving them a C minus for this pick. And I think personally, he is the worst player out of the three Michigan guys.
Hmm.
I was surprised that they went his direction. I will say he's a very good defender. Like, I'm pretty sure he can defend 1 through 5. So they have that going for him. Don't think he's the best shooter. So it just felt that it wasn't a good fit for them. I would have preferred Mara over Morris Johnson Jr., maybe Yaxel, but 9 seemed a little bit high for him. So I'm going with a C minus. And Mavericks draft in general just wasn't my favorite.
Yeah. What grade you give it? A C?
C minus.
Gotcha. I would still give it at least a B for myself. Just because there's something about him and Cooper Flag being at both wings that really excites me personally. Especially knowing how much length he has, a great athlete he is, being able to run up and down the court um, at his size. Obviously, he's still developing a shot at this point, but his value, man, he just can run up and down the court like crazy. So I think that's really cool to see, and that's going to be really nice to pair with Cooper Flag. Um, it would have been cool for them to get a guard. So I definitely agree with that. That's why I don't have an A because I did kind of think they were going to go with Braden, but um, and I was also considering a C. The only reason I met in the middle was just because Dusty May, for him to select Morez Johnson out of all of his guys, that's very interesting to me.
True. That's a good
And I
point.
think you
That
even
he
mentioned
chose
it as
him.
well. Yeah, out of all three of them. Because
Yeah, that's a good
personally,
point.
I liked Yaxel more than him, personally. Um, because I feel like Yaxel has a better offensive repertoire. I can't even say it. Offensive bag. There we go. We'll just go with bag. Make it simple.
Yeah.
Compared to Morez. So, but hey, man, if Dusty feels that big on him, dude, like if he's your guy, he's your guy. As I always tell every team, if you're confident in this guy and you want to take him, higher than where he is on most people's boards, you know what? You take him. He's your project. At the end of the day, that player is only going to be as good as that player wants to be and how good that team wants that player to be. So,
Yeah. I mean, if anyone were to know how good Morris Johnson Jr. is, it's Dusty. So that should give Mavericks fans hope. But just from the outside looking in, feels like they could have gone in a different direction. But that would probably be the best landing spot for Johnson's sake.
yep, 100%. Cool, man. Well, the next pick. Bucks got a steal, man. I love the Bucks draft.
Yeah.
Um, Braden, man, A for sure. Bucks coming in, man, trading Giannis, dude. We're gonna get to the 13th pick as well, but I mean, just home run for the Bucks here in the draft. Um, Personally, even before we get to the Giannis trade, I think they won the trade, and I think they also won the draft. If you're a Bucks fan, you are so excited about the future of Milwaukee basketball for sure. Um, Braden, you finally have a legit guard who's going to be able to run your offense with the best of them. He's well rounded in every part of offense. I have no worries he's gonna go crazy. So I just yeah, A for sure, man.
for
Bucks
sure.
did a good job this offseason.
Yeah, I had an A as well. Just fell right into their laps and will be a good player moving forward with their young core now. Speaking of young core, let's go to the opposite end of that spectrum. We got the Warriors at 11, and they go with a slightly older player that's in the draft, Yaxel Lindenberg out of Michigan. And they were really between two guys. It was Adai Mara or Yaxel was who they were most likely going with. They decided to go Yaxel. I love this pick. I give it an A minus. Now I think Yaxel does two things. They want to get younger, but they don't want to get like too young to where they're having a guy that needs years and years of development because you're wanting someone who can come in and be a rotation guy right now. And out of every guy in the class, who's better to do that, to play with Steph, to play alongside the vets that they have there than Yaxel? And so I gave it an A minus. Personally, I'm more of a Mara guy myself, so that's the only reason I gave it an A minus. But I'm really nitpicking. They're so close, in my opinion, especially for the Warriors' sake. So I'm giving it an A minus.
Yeah, I give it an A too. I mean, with him being 23, and he's gonna turn 24 later this year. Um, it's funny how I'm gonna say this is a win now draft pick, but it pretty much is. I mean, he's about to turn 24. And to be honest with you, when you draft guys like that, most of them top out pretty quick. Um, so I don't really expect him to be anything too crazy moving forward by the time he's 28. Like he's going to be 28 pretty quick, man. Um, we'll see how it goes, but definitely for the Warriors, it's going to be really nice to have him as Curry and Draymond start to head out the door because
Hmm.
you'll be able to put him on this team during the Curry era and the end of it and past it. Like this is a guy who you can just plug in into any roster that they'll have moving forward. I wouldn't be surprised like once Curry and Draymond are gone, Yaxel, I could really see him being a big veteran for this team moving forward, honestly, for the younger guys that they're going to start getting in the future.
For sure. And he's a high floor guy as well. You're not really drafting him in hopes that he can become a number one guy one day, obviously. And if he does, like that's a miracle. That's awesome for them.
And you get
But
Draymond
you're
as a
really
guy behind
drafting
him too.
him. Yeah, yeah, for sure. And so you're really drafting him. We could probably project him to be like have a 10 plus year career, just a solid guy, rotational role player that will be good for your team for a long time. Similar to uh, Keaton Wagler a little bit. You know, I could see them both having good roles going forward, just high floor guys. And that's what you really want as a Warrior fan. It's all you can really ask for. So great pick by them. And Josh, you have the Thunder at 12.
Home run pick. A Mara,
Yeah.
big man for the Thunder, absolutely in their laps. You got pretty much cooked because Chet couldn't bring any fire to that paint, and you bring
Hmm.
Mara. Man, if I'm a
Absurd.
Spurs fan, I'm not like scared, but I'm definitely a little worried because I don't think Mara's gonna be like Chet. I think Mara's cool with playing big. I think he's the type of guy who will play in Victor's face. So
Yeah.
and he can shoot too. Another shooting big for them like Chet. So if anything, dude, even if Chet still plays really good in the regular season, you got a guy who's right behind him who's ready to play. If not, dude, going in the playoffs, you can now play Chet and Mara together. If things get a little too big, if you have Wemby, if you meet the Spurs again, which most likely they will, dude, they can get really big. Pause. But yes.
It's a much needed body for the Thunder team when they're going to be back in the West competing probably against Wemby for the foreseeable future. They needed someone like this, and to get him at the 12th spot is just insane. And so, good for Sam Presti, man. You know, he got his guy, and I'm not sure if they're still going to have Hartenstein, if he'll be gone this year. Even if he stays, like Mara's going to be the next guy up, and I know Chet will probably start in the 5 for some games, but like you have replacements. That's what they're so good at. This Warriors team, or not Warriors, Thunder team. They can replace all these guys, and we're going to talk about another draft pick they got that I'm a huge fan of, which is unfortunate that he went to the Thunder, but yeah, they
I
just
forgot
pump
to
out these
mention that.
dudes.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that as well. Dude, the Thunder, another just a draft. Like coming into this
hmm
draft, they didn't really have many picks. They just had the one at 12, and then they just come in here and trade for more picks, and they're like, yeah, we're just gonna rebuild our depth that you guys thought we were gonna lose.
Yeah, I mean they had the what was it, 17th pick
I thought they traded for
or
that during the
16th,
draft, or at least
whatever.
a day. I thought they traded for it before that. I don't know. Did they have the 17th coming
Yeah, I'm
in
pretty sure they had
universally?
it before, but they traded on draft night like one spot up or something like that.
Maybe that's what it was. Maybe that's what I'm
So they got
thinking.
their guy.
Okay.
But dude, to come out of here with, we'll talk about the other guy,
Yeah.
but man, that's
Yeah.
that's unfortunate for the
Yeah.
rest of the
If you
league.
hate the
So
Thunder, you're annoyed.
yeah, I do, and I am annoyed. And take that as a compliment, Thunder fans, because you guys are
You just
just
keep being good, man. Sam
you
Presti
just
just keeps
do everything
cooking.
right, and I don't like it. Okay.
Sam Presti just knows what he's doing, bro. He is 5 steps ahead of everybody, man.
Yeah, he's got all the assets in the world, and he knows exactly when to use what card. So
Yep.
yeah, good for the Thunder, and we'll talk about their other pick later. But next we have the Bucks. And so I'm probably going to disagree with you, Josh, a little bit. I know you're high on the Bucks draft this year. I'm just not a big Nate Ament guy in general. Now, I thought he's the perfect fit for the Bucks, but I just don't think he's that good of a player just in general. So I actually gave this a C plus, and the reason it's not lower is because it's going to the Bucks. So to me, he's just a massive, massive project, and I'm not sure he's going to get to the level where we think he'll be. This is definitely a project pick, someone you hope to that he'll become because of his intangibles, his measurables, but he was not the greatest at Tennessee. There is a lot to be desired, and so hopefully he can get to that point where he'll be what everyone thinks he can become, but personally, I'm just not seeing it as much. So that's my grade as a C plus for the Bucks here.
Yeah. Well, I said A in totality for the Bucks. Nate Amont is more like a B to me, not really an A. I just think the value of getting him along with Braden and all the other assets that they've gotten is really appealing to me. I think Nate Amont is definitely more of talent pick than here than anything, but he definitely could flake out. It's just more of the physical attributes that he has that is really enticing me. That's all. Um
Yeah.
he's probably going to be a power forward here just cuz he's 6'10. I don't mind it too much. I think going based off of potential at number 13 here is fine because at this point in the draft there was a ton of guards and I didn't think the Bucks really need to go guard again just because they got Braden. I think if they would have gotten a forward or somebody else besides Braden, I think they would have went guard here, but seeing how everything transpired, um, I think it makes sense. I kind of see what their vision is. So I'm gonna give it a B, but this he could end up being that. He's definitely more of a project. I'm with you on that. I agree.
Yeah, that's totally fair. And like I said, for me, it's just the player himself. But I do agree. I see what the Bucks are trying to do because obviously we'll talk about the Giannis trade later and all the players are getting back. They get Braden Burry. So there's a lot of guys that they're hoping can contribute right away who are super young. So why not take a flyer on a project guy who could become something even better than all those guys? So if I
He's gonna
look
get a
at
lot
it
of
in
minutes
that
too.
lens, it's not that bad. So yeah, and like you said, they'll get a lot of minutes, or he will get a lot of minutes. So
Got a lot of
for me,
minutes
it's
that
just the
freed up.
player. Yeah, yeah, it's up
Giannis
for
and
grabs.
Bobby, baby, they gone.
Good, good, good spot for young players to go, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If you're Nate and Braden Burries, I would love being in Milwaukee.
Mm-hmm.
You're
Yeah,
like, oh,
dude.
I have free reigns to find my place here. So yeah, good for them. And so Josh, you have your Hornets first pick.
It makes
What did you
sense.
think?
It was a
Go
no.
off.
It was a no-brainer. I am gonna give it a B. I'm not gonna give it an A. I'm going with a B here. I do really like the pick. The only reason I'm not giving it an A is because I really do think Mara is really good, and the Thunder probably weren't gonna trade their pick. And I know the Warriors were not gonna budge, as the Hornets weren't, because the Warriors did want those 2 picks from the Hornets. Deal wasn't gonna get done there. Um, but now knowing what we know, maybe the plan all along was to get rid of LaMelo, and if that's true, it makes sense, why in the future they make this next pick here. Um, you can kinda see the dominoes. You can see everything aligning correctly why they made this pick, so, but I would give it a B. He was the second best big man in the draft behind Mara. I'm just a really big fan of Mara, just because I feel like he has way more potential, but Hans could surprise me, dude. Um, I went back dude, I really enjoy seeing a post playing big man. I feel like we don't see a lot of dominant post playing big man anymore. Um, to see how effective he is in the post scoring wise, it was kind of fun. Not gonna lie to you, I'm kind
Yeah.
of excited. But and his favorite player is Dirk Nowitzki. He's from Germany, so I don't mind it.
Yeah, dude. I also gave him a B as well, especially with what you guys are probably going to do this offseason. Like you already talked about LaMelo. Miles Bridges at this point seems like he's already out the door, and you already needed some guys like this. And so, having Diabate and Steinbach too, that's pretty fun just in general. So you're disappointed because you didn't get Mara, but there's nothing you can do about that. And so I think at this point of the draft, the next best guy would be Steinbach. So I thought it was pretty good value for the Hornets there at 14.
Yeah, Miles is definitely gone for sure, dude. I saw him post like the day or two before the draft. Literally, like I think he quote tweeted someone on X or it was Instagram where he pretty much was like, "Yeah, I already know I'm leaving." He didn't say that word
Wow.
for word, but he pretty much like he's making it known that he's probably out of here. So,
Send him to the Pistons. He just feels like a Pistons type player.
I mean, he was born
That'd be
in Michigan.
hilarious.
He also played for Michigan, so he is a Spartan.
Jalen Duren and Miles Bridges team up.
Oh
Come
boy.
on. All right. So for my next pick, I have the Bulls here at 15. They took Dalen Swain. I'm giving this a B minus. This pick. So early in the draft, they take Caleb Wilson. Obviously, that was the correct pick to make. The reason I went with a B minus here, and I'm kind of a Dalen Swain guy. I like him as a player. He's actually a very good ball handler as well. But there is not a lot of shooting with this team. That's the one thing I'm like a little concerned about because now you have Dalen Swain, who could play multiple positions, which is good, but he can't really shoot. Claxton can't shoot the three. Caleb Wilson can't shoot the three. You know, Josh Giddey, he's a playmaker, not really a shooter as much. So that's going to be a little interesting, just the dynamic of that whole thing. But I will tell you, the defense is going to be so fun.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see how that's going to be. And, you know, I feel like this is good for like Buzelis, someone like that. And I think at this point, they just need to get some guys who can shoot. I
If
know they have some guys on the roster who are guards, but you should probably bring back one of those guys now.
Yeah, I would say B2. I think if Dalen Swain honestly could build muscle, I would not be surprised if he develops into more of a power forward, honestly. Unless he does develop a
Mhm.
shot. If he does develop a shot, he could play shooting guard, like a big shooting guard or a small forward. Um, but that just depends what the Bulls want to do here. I thought the Bulls could use a shooting guard because it's really bad to keep running Trey Jones at the shooting guard for how small he is. And he's
Yeah.
yeah. Um, I mean, we'll see. He just really lacks a three-point shot, as you said. And I feel like you really need a sharpshooter or at least a really nice three-point shooter next to Giddy, but Giddy's not really good defensively either, so maybe you just felt like you needed another defender and you're just maybe hoping he does develop a shot. I don't know. The Bulls
He
there
could.
kind of it's hit or miss. I don't know if the Bulls want to develop just mainly think they could just develop his shot. And honestly, if he develops his shot, dude, he could be really good. But we'll see what the Bulls' thoughts are here. It's time will tell. Don't know. We shall see.
Hmm. Definitely. All right, back to the Thunder. Oh, this one kills me, bro. This is one of my guys.
I was so
They
hyped for the
drafted two of my
Grizzlies.
guys.
I was so hyped, dude. I was so happy for Grizzlies fans
Oh
because
man.
obviously Cameron Boozer home run and then they picked Bennett, dude. I was like, "Oh, this is great. This is awesome, dude. This is going to be amazing." And then I see the thing light up on my board that says OKC trading for the Grizzlies for Bennett and I'm like, "Well, and it sucks, man, because besides anything else, I do feel like the Grizzlies have done very well in a lot of things. This one, I don't know, man. I feel like the Grizzlies should have just kept on to him. And
I
at
would
the
have
end of the
loved
day,
it.
I know this sounds horrible. At the end of the day, if OKC is knocking on your door, there might be a reason.
For sure.
And I think it's because OKC likes him just as much as we do.
Yeah, it's disappointing
But it's an A.
for the league.
It's
It's
an
an
A.
A, dude.
Yeah.
It's an A. I gave him an A minus just to spite them, but it's
Just a
really an A.
just a the minus smacking on their
Uh,
forehead.
so I wonder if this means Topic is gone. If they trade him or not,
Yeah,
or
probably.
if Sturt's just red shirts. I'm not sure what they're
He's just
thinking
taking
with
Lou
that.
Dort's spot. It's fine. He'll probably be better than Lou Dort.
Oh man,
I think he'll be better
that
than
one
Lou
hurts my
Dort.
soul. Yeah. So whatever. Thunder, you did great again, as you always do. So next pick, we have the Pistons here at 17. They take Ibuka Okori out of Stanford. I went with, I have a B plus written down. I'm probably going to change that to a B, to be honest. because they trade up for this pick. There's some other guards at this point of the draft I would probably take over a Corey. But the things I like about him is he can dribble the ball, he can drive to the lane, he can draw fouls. A little bit, wish he was a little bit bigger, but he's someone who can take minutes away from Cade. I kind of worded that weird, but just at least to back up Cade so he can get some rest, which is what they needed to because they don't have many ball handlers. And so when Cade's off the floor, it's pretty rough. So hopefully a Corey can be their backup point guard, not QB, for the foreseeable future. So probably not the player I would have taken, but I like the direction they went in.
Yeah, I might still stick with a C here. I understand the vision here, getting a guy who can back up Cade Cunningham, which is what they need. Um, I wish I knew what free agency looked like. I don't know if they could have gone a guard in free agency, to be honest. I mean, they just got off of Isaiah Stewart's contract, so you're even more. I mean, they still have Paul Reed behind Jalen Duren. I would have really liked Jaden here more personally, but
Mhm.
we'll talk about that later. But I think it's a C just off the premise. Like, I understand what their vision is, but also do feel like they could have done better because drafting for a backup at 17, I feel like we draft more bench depth as we get past 20. I feel like we can still draft on potential or at least guys who could develop into maybe a starter. You're mainly just basing off of this guy being your backup point guard for several years. It is what it is. It's fine. It's an okay pick.
That's a good way to summarize it, to be honest. So, Hornets back on the clock again.
Number 18, dude. This is where the magic happens. Did not expect this at all. And before the draft, there were rumors circulating that there is an unknown player that the Hornets have their eyes on, and there could be a pick here. No one knew if it was going to be at 14 or 18, that they were going to pick someone that no one would have thought of. And that was Christian Anderson. Did not know they were going to go for him. Um, and I kind of thought maybe they drafted him to pair with Kobe White because Kobe White can play shooting guard. Um, Now knowing what we know, Christian Anderson might be the truth for them at this point. Um, and honestly, dude, for him to drop to 18, I guess I'm not terribly shocked anymore because really when you think about it, dude, I think the Hornets are very confident they can develop Christian Anderson into something. And I think he can be really good. Um, I remember earlier I was talking about a guy who did average the most assists, or at least like was pretty close to averaging the most assists out of all players or guards. Christian Anderson was that guy. He averaged 7.4 assists, 19 points per game. So he was practically a 19 and 8 guy who got 4 rebounds. Um, a little high on the turnovers, but he also averaged close to about 2 steals a game. Um, he's also still a really good shooter. He shot 48 and 42% from the field, and the 3 point. And what even makes more sense is if you know the history, Christian Anderson and Hans, they used to play in youth basketball back in Germany for 3 years. So these are guys
Wow,
that have played together before.
that's pretty cool.
So these are guys that are used to each other. They've played with each other before. I wouldn't be surprised if the Hornets pulled Hans to the side and Hans was like, "Yo, I think you should pick up this dude. He's really good. We have history." I think he's really intriguing because he does have really nice upside. So,
And he's one of my favorite players in general for this entire draft. And so before obviously this LaMelo news came out, which that's crazy in itself. I had this as a B plus just because of the player specifically. I wasn't too sure what the actual fit with the Hornets, but this dude can absolutely score like crazy. So I just love that about him. And it makes even more sense if the Hornets actually move on from LaMelo. So it could probably go up to an A potentially.
especially with them wanting and saying that they definitely want to bring Kobe White. We heard all season, um, in this past season, that they believe Kobe White is a big part of what they're wanting to do for the future of this team. Um,
Mm-hmm.
not seeing everything unfold at this point, I guess it's not. It's shocking to see Lamelo is fully more into trade negotiations, and them even. And there was another report saying that Lamelo wants to stay with the Hornets, which shows that he loves the team. But it seems like it's more of a team direction than anything. And at the end of the day, man, I understand what they're trying to do. So after seeing this pick and then going into tonight, it makes sense. So I I might go up to an A. I had it at a B. I might change it to an A, especially if LaMelo's getting traded. And they said there might be a trade within the next 24 to 48 hours, by the way. I saw
Oh
that as well.
man.
If that
Timberwolves.
happens, man, then yeah, it's an A because they need a point guard. So,
You guys trying to get Gobert?
dude, if Rudy Gobert comes, oh, we gotta. Oh my god, we'll talk about this later. We'll talk about this later. We'll talk
That'll
about
be on
this
the
later.
next podcast if that
Oh my
happens.
gosh,
I'm sure we'll talk about it.
yo,
But for the time being,
yeah,
let's go to
keep
the
going, keep
Raptors
going.
pick.
Yo, Zach's making me blush. You need to stop.
Yeah, let's talk about a bad pick.
Oh.
So this is
On to
actually
other news.
actually my second lowest draft grade of the entire draft. Raptors take Alan Graves out of Santa Clara. Yeah, I mean he's an analytic darling. You know, like all the advanced stats just like scream this guy's amazing. I don't know. I
Kenny didn't
feel
take
like they
him?
have. What'd you say,
Kenny didn't take him?
Kenny?
Our boy Kenny Atkinson?
Wait, what?
You
I'm
said
confused.
you said you Alan Graves is amazing on the analytics.
Oh,
Why
oh,
didn't the
okay,
Cavs trade up for him?
bro. You gotta be so confused.
What?
I was like, no,
Anytime we talk about
yeah.
analytics, I have to, bro. I'm sorry. Continue. Go crazy.
Honestly, this would have been an A if it was the Cavs.
It
No,
would have
but to
been
be
A
honest,
plus for Kenny, that's for sure. But go on.
oh, definitely. Even if yeah, whatever.
Yep.
So I just feel like the Raptors have similar players already on the roster to Alan Graves. Like just this a little bit shorter for his position, just like this bulldog, like uh, Colin Murray Boyles, you know, Scotty Barnes. I feel like they're just kind of redundant with a lot of the same players. And so, I don't know. To me, it just seems like a little bit of the same thing. I was hoping they would go maybe like Jaden Quaintance, the next pick, uh, Chris Sinak, even Zuby Ejiofor, someone like that. But they opt to go for more of a four, maybe could be a stretch five, but I'm not even sure about that. So I gave it a D plus, and yeah, not my favorite pick in this draft.
Yeah, the Raptors have a type, man. It's so weird. Like he's definitely like RJ Barrett, Scotty Barnes. Like he's definitely like that type of player where like analytically he sounds great, like kind of like all around type of guy. But at the end of the day, he's really slow-footed, dude. I every time I watch him, he just kind of looks out of place sometimes mechanically, but it's a Raptors pick, dude. It's a it's a yeah, it's a RJ Barrett pick. It's a Scotty Barnes pick. It's a Grady Dick pick. Pause. um yeah, it it's a D. It's a me.
Yeah,
But yeah,
I'm glad we're on the same page
yeah.
with that.
I don't know, dude. I feel like they already have all those players. I don't know why we keep just adding on. Can we get like a sharpshooter in there somewhere? Can we mix it up a little bit? Or like some
No,
sort of
tell me about
dynamic
it.
wing? I don't know.
Tell me
Give me
about it,
something
dude.
different. Throw somebody else in the mix. I don't know. This just seems very moggy and boring.
No, for sure, man. So you got
On to
the
the Spurs,
Spurs.
the other big Western Conference team. Love their pick. I give it an A.
Yeah.
I like Jaden. He fell lower than I thought at this point. We've talked about him a couple times. Kind of surprised he wasn't taken a little bit earlier. Um, just a nice another athletic wing. And I mean, when the Spurs see an athletic wing who's 6'10", don't be surprised that they take him. Because I mean, this dude can rim run like crazy. I know he tore his ACL. Hey man, it won't happen again. Fooled me once, shame on him. Fool me twice, it'll never happen. Trust. But yeah, dude,
Can't argue with that.
I like it a lot. I think did you compare him kind of like to Robert Williams in a way a little bit? Did you say that
Yeah,
before?
he
Yeah,
reminds me a bit
I
of
see
him.
it. Yeah, I can see it. But yeah, pairing him alongside Victor, not saying that he will play power forward, but if there's ever times like you want another like athletic big wing around Victor, I mean that's just a match made in heaven.
Yeah, and I even think he'll play some small ball five too when
Yeah.
Wemby's out. And obviously, we'll talk about another player they drafted as well, but they really revamped their front court. And I gave this an A minus, and the only reason I gave it an A minus is because of the injury history and him not playing too many games in college, just going through um, those injuries and all that. So it's a lot of projection, but when he's on the court, it's very awesome. It's so good, and he's a great rim protector, and it's worth it, for the Spurs to maybe take a chance on someone like this. I had this as an A minus pretty much before we heard of the other pick, but now that they have both of those guys, I like this pick even more. So if they were just to only have this first round pick, it would have been an A minus. It's probably an A now for me, from the guy we'll talk about soon. But yeah, dude, both the Western Conference finals teams killed it.
Yeah.
So, well, the next pick we had the Grizzlies taking
We're
Kareem
back.
Lopez. Wait, what?
We're back to Memphis.
Oh,
Sorry.
we're back.
Yep, we're
Yes,
back, Memphis.
I thought you were about to drop something like breaking news.
No.
Um,
Breaking.
yeah, so they take Kareem Lopez, and to be honest, I'm not much of a Kareem Lopez guy anyway, but I do really like him in Memphis. There's just something about him in Memphis. I think his shot needs to improve, but he's got a lot of intangibles that I think can really show up in the NBA. It's a good spot for him. I like it, especially the Grizzlies having multiple picks going for someone like this as well. And then later on, like in the second round, you have them drafting. Well, we're not going to really talk about the second round. So, like Richie Saunders in the second round, that's amazing. So, you have a guard, a wing, and a forward that you draft. So, they're really covering all their bases here. I like what they're doing, man. So,
Yeah.
he's not my favorite guy in this draft, but coming to the Grizzlies, I really like that. So, I'm going to give this pick a B.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go a little tier down and say C for this, just because I really don't know how good he can be. I understand the premise of the pick. In a way, you're adding another guy who could be a nice little long-term wing that you could have. Um, but his ability not to shoot or have any ball handling, not having either of those in this NBA as a forward, which he could develop it, he's he could still do it, but I'm just iffy on it. I don't know. Not really too big on him. I know he plays really tough and physical, from what I have heard and seen. Um, but he's definitely raw. They're definitely gonna have to probably get him more acclimated playmaking wise, but we'll see where that goes. He's solid athlete too, but there's just nothing like super eye popping about his game.
Yeah, for sure.
He does the dirty work in Memphis. He's the he's the guy that drives the trash truck, the dumpster car.
Garbage man.
He is the garbage man. He does the dirty work.
Sure.
All right. 76ers. Um I would say a B. I'm not really too surprised that they went with a guard here. I think we even talked about it during the mock draft a little bit. When VJ and Maxi come out, or vice versa, you don't really have much depth back there, or any really much playmakers otherwise. Especially because VJ, he still needs to develop more of a playmaking to his game. Once he does, that will be really nice for the Sixers, but currently they definitely need another good playmaker besides Maxi. Because once Maxi's off the floor, it's pretty rough. So them getting Labarian, how do you Labarian, right?
LeBaron, I think.
LeBaron.
Yeah.
It makes sense, dude. I mean, he looked really good at Alabama. It just makes sense. He'll be nice to come off the bench with Max when Maxi needs to come off.
Yeah. Yeah, and what value as well at 22. I
Oh, he
thought he would
fell
go
even farther,
earlier than
dude.
this.
It was kind of shocking to me how far he fell, but
So for someone like him to fall to 22, that's great work by the 76ers.
this is a guy that
And
averaged 22, 5, and 4, by the way, in SEC play.
mhm, I gave
So,
him an A, man.
yeah.
Great pick. So
You know what?
next
I'll
pick,
bump up to A. My
23.
bad. I'll bump up.
Yeah, dude. I'm
Yeah.
with you, man. So that's a great player.
Yeah.
That
I
fell
totally
late.
forgot how far he fell. I didn't even bring that into consideration. He did far fall. He fell very far down the ladder. So, yeah,
Yeah,
A for sure. My bad. Go ahead.
definitely. So Zuby Ejiofor, he goes here to the Hawks out of St. John's. Hawks earlier in this draft picked Kingston Flemings, who I think we both gave an A grade to. Here, I'm not as high on. I gave him a C. So the thing with Zuby is he's kind of an undersized big man. He plays with great energy, like really good hustler, does all the right things in that sense. Doesn't have a good outside shot. I kind of question his fit with Okonkwo. Did I say that right? I
Onyeka?
get his name mixed up too.
Onyeka?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
Onyeka. So I question that fit a little bit. I think he's probably a career backup for the most part. Hopefully, he can
Yeah.
play a big role off the bench. to me, his ceiling is kind of like an Isaiah Stewart type guy. So, there's definitely value in that. I was kind of hoping they would go a different direction. And I was really thinking they would go Harris Reed or Sanak right here. But they chose Zuby right here. And, sometimes it's good to have those guys who are just straight up hustlers who maybe don't have the right intangibles or anything, who just do all that dirty work, who, will go the extra mile to make a small play. So I think that's who the Hawks are getting right here, but not my favorite pick in the entire world. So I give them a C. Later on, though, I mean, they might have got the steal of the draft in the second round, Henry Vasar. So that's a totally different thing. You
Yeah.
get both of those bigs, and it sounds better if you consider that pick as well. But if we're just looking at this standalone, yeah, not my favorite.
Yeah, I'm in the middle of B and C. I might just settle with C for now, just because this is a guy who I feel like kind of reminds me of Musa Diabate a little bit. High motor guy at six
Mhm.
nine who can play big. No, he's a little bit undersized, but he's relentless when it comes to rebounding and defense. He could probably play the perimeter and inside, but once he does verse a bigger guy, he's gonna have a tougher time. This is definitely a rotational guy who you can maybe throw a power forward if he develops a shot. Um, Regardless, though, he probably will be more of a backup. If he can develop, I think him sitting behind Oyeka, taking Jock Landale's spot, dude. I think that's
Yeah.
I think that's really nice if that's able to happen. So, or even just behind Jalen Johnson, because who knows if Kaminga's gonna keep being around. Um, we'll see.
Yeah, definitely.
Cameron Carr at the 24th pick, Zach. It
Yeah.
was the Knicks pick. Became the Lakers. Lakers pick, gotta give it an A, man. Lakers, really good job. I know they re-signed Austin Reeves. I know they have Luca, but man, when you see a guy like Cameron Carr drop to 24, I would have jumped too. I'm giving it an A.
Yeah.
I don't have much to say. I mean, very talented scorer and shot maker. Really like his three-pointer, what he can bring. Having a guy like that coming off the bench who obviously, Lakers scenario, you'll have Luca and Austin Reeves, and you'll probably want to have one or the other on the court most of the time. But dude, if Cameron Carr can become who you think he can, having another guy who can become a really good scorer off the bench behind those two is really nice to see. And if he gets bigger, you can maybe move him to a three, but he's still a little undersized if you put him at the three. But who knows? We'll see.
For
And if
sure.
and if Austin Reeves doesn't work out, just saying, just saying. This is a guy who can
Oh
play I
man.
mean, he can develop into a pretty good defender, honestly. So, just saying, just saying. But anyways, yeah.
Fair enough, man.
Any thoughts?
So no, they did good.
He doesn't want to
That's all I'm
say
giving
anything
them.
about the Lakers. He just wants to move on. But you have to talk about the Knicks then if you want to move on, and that's another team that you probably don't want to talk
Like the
about.
Thunder, I'm giving them an A minus just for spite, but they did well with this pick. So for the 25th pick, I actually think it's the Mavericks who ended up getting this guy,
Yeah,
Sergio De Lorera.
yeah.
I definitely butchered that. Leave us alone, guys. It's 11 o'clock at night. But, you know, I, I give it a C. It's you never know with these type of guys, to be honest.
Yeah.
Supposedly he's a good shooter. I don't know too much about him just in general, but I was kind of hoping they would go for more of a like college guy, like mainstay, like we know this guy, we know what he's
For the
done.
Mavs. Yeah.
It's just really hard to like project certain guys like these. So going from Morris Johnson, who I wasn't already a big fan of, Josh is a little higher on him than me, and then taking this guy who I feel like's a project just was not a good combination for my taste. So I'm going with a C for this pick as well.
Yeah, I would do a D, honestly.
Ooh.
Yeah. And I'm also thinking F, but I'm gonna stick with a D just off of the fact that he could be something. Um, because you really don't know, like you said, but there's a chance this could be an F because there's still reports that he might not even play this next season because he's still open to playing another year in Spain. So
Mm,
if
bummer.
if that happens and nothing also comes of it, it's one of those things where I'm just like, so we just traded for a guy who's not even playing next season. And even when he comes into the NBA, you're not even really sure what he's going to do either. So,
For the first round too,
yeah, just really
even though it's
sus,
late,
man.
but still.
It's more of a Knicks pick. I was not really shocked when the Knicks made that pick because
Yeah.
that's what the Knicks do be doing all of my life. They take international players. That just doesn't make sense.
So
Um,
I think I read today somewhere that the Knicks have 16 like players they have rights on from over the years that have just never come over. And like the
yeah,
latest
dude.
one was from 2009 all the way up to like 2023.
Mhm.
It's just so funny. That's exactly what they do. So
Yeah,
when it went to the Mavericks, it was like, oh wow, it actually wasn't the Knicks.
yeah, it was very surprising, but that's what makes it even worse, is that it
Yeah.
just for the Mavs, it doesn't make sense, like, this just yeah, I don't know. It is what it is.
Well, the Knicks did take someone from Germany in the second round, so
Yeah,
they're sticking true to their
true.
roots, even though they won a championship.
Yep. Moving on to the 26th pick, though, was the Nuggets traded to the Spurs. Spurs are yet again in the first round here taking Taurus Reed. Um, honestly, pairing that with Jaden, I'd probably give that an A again. I mean, they're just
Yeah.
continuously building the size that they already have. And it's this trade, in a way, to me, was like them seeing OKC take Mara and them being like, oh, you're going to take Mara? That's cool. We'll take Jaden. We'll trade up to get Taurus. And we'll just keep making our front court even more big. So,
Fantastic rebounder too. He was
yeah.
so fun watching throughout March Madness, just like an absolute baller when the stages were bright. So
Yeah, obviously
I
not a
love
crazy
that pick.
shooter, but at the end of the day, his ability in the interior, rebounding, he honestly has very sneaky passing too. He actually has a little sniff of playmaking to him, which is really nice. Um, yeah, dude, I A at the end of the day, like they just keep building that front court over and over
Mhm.
again, dude. It's kind of messed up.
Yeah, they're revamping it completely, and so they got the guards figured out, and now they're working on the front court, and pretty soon they'll work on the wings, and they'll probably be insane. So good for the Spurs. I gave it a B plus, which probably just more so. I don't know. Maybe I should have gave it an A, but they're in that range.
Yeah.
I like Terrace Reed as a player. He's going to a good spot, good coach, good organization. So he should have some good amount of success there.
Yeah.
Attention, everybody. The Celtics draft Chris Sinak Jr. out of Houston, A plus. I just gave it an A. I'm being a homer, but
Plus
I
because he's
do
a
actually
Celtic.
think it's an A. Yeah, I do think it was actually a value pick for the Celtics because that's exactly who the Celtics needed. I thought he would go, as high as probably 19, possibly earlier. but I was thinking more so like the 19 to 23 range for Chris
Yeah.
Sinak. I really like him. So he was like a top 5 recruit coming out of high school. So he has the intangibles, had an up and down year in Houston. So this is also kind of a project, but you saw flashes when he was at Houston of like, wow, he could be a really good player here in the future. And this is the exact position the Celtics need. They need front court help bad. And so you get a guy who can drive, he can be in the dunker spot, he could throw it down, which the Celtics haven't had in a minute. Someone who can do that. And yeah, he can block shots pretty well. So this will be kind of a project pick. I'll be interested to see how he develops, but at this point of the draft, I'm totally fine with taking someone like this, so he gets an A in my book.
Yeah, even though he's a project, like I probably would give it an A as well. I think I'm pretty confident that the Celtics could develop him.
Yeah.
Taking a flyer on him, not really too surprised. A lot of the players that the Celtics have on their roster now that are getting better as the years go on are all developmental players, so not really shocked there at all. Um, yeah, I mean it's huge. I think him being a part of Boston can really help maximize his physical tools. I also saw reports that him playing in Houston, they kind of asked him to play a little bit different than what he's used to. So
Hmm.
there is a world where when he actually plays with Boston that he could look a lot more different too, because I really doubt he's going to be playing the same way he did in Houston compared to Boston because I think Boston's going to want more out of him.
Yeah, for sure. He's got a really good path with the Celtics to get some good minutes as well.
Yeah. On to 28 here. Part of the Julius Randle trade that we will be talking about, the Timberwolves trade away their pick to Brooklyn, and the Brooklyn Nets get Joshua Jefferson. Um, kind of hit or miss for me, honestly. I mean, I would give it like I would give it a C, I would say. Maybe a B. I do like Joshua Jefferson. I just think the pick is kind of weird because they just traded for Julius Randle. I know they're probably not going to keep him for a long time, but I do think it's kind of weird to draft Joshua Jefferson after getting Julius Randle when
Hmm.
I feel like to help with Joshua Jefferson's development, he's probably not going to get as much minutes now. So I guess he's probably going to be playing in the G League a little bit back and forth, maybe. But I do like him though. He's very versatile. I think he has the tools to be a playmaking forward. Um, his jump shot still needs some work. Um, it's mainly just more inconsistent in my opinion though. But yeah, besides that, just kind of weird by the Nets. I don't know. Another weird pick by the Nets compared to before.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm kind of high on Joshua Jefferson. His, intangibles probably aren't, he's kind of a tweener, like the way he plays and
A
everything. You
tweaker?
just kind of don't know where to play him. Weaker?
No, I'm kidding.
um, yeah, but just like watching him, you can just see this dude can play. And it's at a, I'm assuming he'll probably be more of like a power forward ish type player. And I know obviously they just got Julius Randle, but besides him, you know, that's the type of archetype they need at this point with their roster. They need more of those type of guys. I think now that you have Joshua Jefferson, he, you know, I don't want to say Julius Randle should mentor Joshua Jefferson because
Please
that
don't
feels weird to
mentor him.
say.
Please,
But
Julius, don't mentor him. Please, no.
yeah, just
Stay
trust your
away from him,
coaches.
please.
But yeah, he's a baller, man. So I don't mind them taking the swing. They've had a lot of first round picks the past 2 years, and this is like the one type of body type they don't have yet. So for that reason, I give it a B plus.
Yeah. No,
So the
I like
Kings
Joshua
here,
Jefferson. I do.
yeah, yeah, he's a good player. The Kings take Alex Caravan here out of UConn. I actually give this pick a D, which that is my lowest grade of the entire draft.
Oof.
And the reason is I'm not sure why, out of all teams, the Kings would go for a guy like this. I would think they would want someone who is like can project to be something even better. You know, Caravan, he's obviously young. He's not like old. He's 23 years old, but still for like NBA rookie, that's pretty up there. And you would hope someone like Caravan would go to a team that's already going to be a contender. He can perfectly fit into a shooter role on a contending team, even. But with what the Kings are doing, I don't think this is the best fit. The only thing I could see is by the time they get off of these big contract guys, in a couple years, once you're free of all of that and you're starting to get younger players in, Caravan would probably be a veteran leader for the next group of young guys. But is that why you're drafting him this year as a rookie for someone to do that? I don't know. I don't. I like the player, but hate the fit. So I give it a D.
Yeah. I'd probably go up just to a C. The only reason is because, like you said, I actually do think he could be a vet for them if his career does pan out with the Kings, which is something that they could desperately need in the future. Um, Another thing is he wins games, dude. I think the Kings now more than ever need a guy who's a winning player, who's been in winning cultures. You need more guys on your roster that just know how to win or just have the drive to win. They need this culture shift. So bringing in Caravan as a guy who just breeds winning. All of his life, he's just known for winning. So
Yeah.
I think they said he has the best winning history, like record wise, out of all these players. So
Hmm.
that's nice. I think a lot of people might overlook that a little bit. I think as a Kings organization where you're trying to do a total 180 with the whole roster, because the Kings have been losers all of my life. Um, the first thing you need to do is rebuild the culture, and drafting guys like Darius Acuff, who I'm very high on, and then getting a guy in who could possibly be a big veteran piece for you and has a winning mentality. I think getting a guy at 29 that could have that be a piece.
Hmm.
I think there's value there. I do. But I don't think it's also a home run either. So I can understand why you would put him at D.
Yeah. So one more pick here.
The big old 3-0 end of the first, and we got Koa Pete. Originally, a pick was for the Mavs, but traded to Phoenix. You get Koa Pete, who's a 6'8 forward. Um, Makes sense if you're the Suns. You need a physical wing. He's versatile on defense. Jump shot kind of lacks, but you still have Jalen Green. You still have D Book. It makes sense you're not really looking for another guy who can be another shot creator or big shooter. If you can get a guy like Koa Pete to put next to those two, it makes sense. You need another defensive wing around them. So
Mhm.
I don't think there's really too much else to say about that. It's just more of fit than anything.
Right. And you have Malawatch from last year who you took 10th overall. So you got your center locked
Yeah.
up. You got Mark Williams. Who knows? Maybe he'll finally end up being a Laker this
Ooh,
offseason. You never
Mark
know. But
Williams.
you got Mel watching the weights. Put him next to Koa Pete. Like you said, you got those guys in the backcourt. He's also staying home. He's a hometown guy. I'm not sure if he's from Arizona, like if he grew up there, but that's where he went to college. So
Yeah.
he's staying in the state, which is pretty cool. Probably 12 months ago, we would think he would be more so of a top 10 pick rather than the last pick in the first round. So if you're looking at it in that aspect, then this is probably good value. It's similar to Chris and Ack in a way. Two guys who fell, who were projected to be a lot higher. So you never know. Maybe Koa Pete reaches that potential. And yeah, I think he's a pretty solid pick. So I gave it a B. I might even go up to a B plus.
I would do a B as well. Yeah.
Yeah,
They just didn't have much depth at the wing. I mean, all you have is Grayson Allen. That's
for
that's
sure.
literally all you have. Unless you want to give Highsmith some minutes. Ooh.
Right.
Yeah.